transforming bracket.
What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. This is, of course, part of a series. Last time I did a top 10 TV series premieres of all time for myself. Now, obviously, you clicked on the video. I'm doing top 10 best TV series finales of all time for myself. Just as I said in my previous video, this is a list that's going to change. I'm filming this the same day as I filmed my previous one, May 15th of 2021. The reason why I'm stating this is because this is something that could change, from a month or 2 months from now. Because, let's face it, there's so many TV shows out there. We're in the golden age of TV, for crying out loud. So it is one of those situations where we're constantly getting TV, and I do watch a lot of TV shows, so I'm sure that this list will change very soon. Who knows? But anyways, figured I would let you guys know that. Also, keep in mind, this is something that I had to say in my previous list, and I'm going to say it now. This is not going to be any mini-series, unfortunately. So Chernobyl and Watchmen both aren't going to be included, which honestly pained me, but I did have to make the decision. I was like, you know what? Just going to be TV series. But maybe those two will be on my top 10 TV shows of all time, which I know some people might be like, well, it's not actually a TV show. And it's like, well, you know what? It's going to be my list, so whatever. But yeah, top 10 TV series finales, guys. Let's get started. I'll be going from 10 to 1. So all that exposition aside, let's get started, guys. So my number 10 is Veep, which Veep, the finale itself was called Veep. Veep was a good show. It really was. But I think what was really impressive was that it really tied everything together with how it ended. And again, this is not going to be revealing any spoilers or anything, but it was just very satisfying to see what the character went through and everything. And honestly, it was more sad as well. Like, it was satisfying, but it was also sad with how it ended. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But I really dug it. And I think that overall the show did such a great job of, maintaining my interest that when I saw the finale and I saw how it did and everything, I was like, that was great. It was very much so worthy of the characters. It was really good, really strong. And that's why it's my number 10. Next up, my number 9 is The Leftovers, which is the book of Nora. I do not own season 3. I own season 1 and 2, but I'm putting this as a placeholder. I will be buying season 3 pretty soon. But yeah, The Leftovers. I would be lying if I sat here and said The Leftovers I completely understood my first viewing. I need to watch it a second time, truth be told. But that finale of season 3 just, it really struck me, man. It was a great way to wrap up the series as a whole. And I liked how artsy, honestly, season 2 and 3 went. Like, it went full-blown art house. David Lynch definitely would have been proud, for sure, 100%. But I liked it. I really liked it. I thought it was very strong. And I'm looking forward to rewatching, honestly, because I will be watching the show again. So yeah, it's my number 9. My number 8 is Twin Peaks: The Return, which is part 18. Ah, man, this was great. There's like a 10-minute scene of them just driving, like, 2 characters. The way it ended itself, just, again, not spoiling or anything, but just a character screaming, and then it cuts to black, and then just see directed by David Lynch. It's amazing. It really is amazing, because I wasn't sure how they were going to end it, and I was like, how are they going to top the finale of Twin Peaks, the one that, came out 25 years ago? And I think he did top it. I think he did in a lot of ways, because the way it ended, just, it's like a bow, man. I would be happy to see another season of Twin Peaks, The Return, but let's be honest, we're probably not going to get that. And at the same time, I'm happy because I know I just contradicted myself, but I am happy because it was just so satisfying, whilst at the same time not satisfying, if that makes sense. It's a weird mix of feelings, and my big thing is with TV shows, I like getting emotions. And David Lynch knows how to do that when I'm watching his stuff. And he really did with this TV show, especially with the way this finale ended. Very much so satisfying, whilst at the same time not fully being satisfying and asking a lot of questions at the same time. And leaving stuff up for interpretation, which is honestly the best kind of TV. So yeah, that's my number 8. Next up, my number 7 is Dark, the Paradise, is what the episode's called. The Paradise is honestly like a great episode, but I think what makes Dark stand out even more so is that this is like Westworld mixed with Stranger Things, but better than both of those. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're mixing all these different timelines and genres, and it works seamlessly. And it all leads to this finale that, honestly, I think that they had it in their books and plans from day one, because it just, everything matches, everything welds together in such a cohesive and interesting way. I do hope that this gets like a physical media release, because, obviously it's It's nice having it on Netflix for sure because it is a Netflix TV show at this point. But I do wish that it would have a physical copy because it's a gorgeous looking show. And on 4K, man, it would be something to watch. Don't get me wrong, I watched it on 4K and streaming, but streaming 4K versus physical media 4K, there's a big difference. But yeah, I liked it. I really liked it. If you haven't seen Dark, would highly recommend you check it out. So that's my number 7. Next up, my number 6 is Mad Men. Episode, Person to Person. So the finale, Person to Person, is really strong. Honestly, Mad Men did such a great job, I think, with how it ended. I know some people, for some reason, that really didn't like the ending. I personally really did because, again, not going to spoil anything, but the one character, literally throughout the entire show, he hasn't had a single peace of mind. And yet it ends where he does have a peace of mind. And he comes up with, arguably, one of the greatest commercials. Again, that's amazing. That's something that I personally cherish because not only does it show that the character has like an inkling of possibility of like changing, but it also at the same time gives room to say, well, does he actually change fully, or is it just that he has like a little bit of peace of mind? It's left up for interpretation. I love it personally. I get it why some people might not, but for me, it's really up my alley with how they ended it, and I loved it. Bravo, there's a lot of satisfying stuff, not only just with the last scene, but just as a whole, the characters, a lot of them just have it where stuff that happens, I dug it. I really did. That's why it's my number 6. Next up, my number 5 is Hannibal, The Wrath of the Lamb. I love Hannibal. As I said in my premiere list, I think that Hannibal is just so underrated, and it's so sad the fact that it got canceled and cut short. But that being said, at least they ended it on a high note, and truth be told, it does mesh very well with the rest of the series. It meshes so well that honestly, you would think that this was like the natural end. But if you know the behind the scenes, obviously, you've heard that a lot of people wanted a season 4, including myself. But, you know, if there never is a season 4, I'm fine with it. Season 3 was great. It took it to another level with, you know, being even more artsy than the previous 2 seasons. And that finale, it just did such a great job, man. I really dug it, especially that last shot. It's great. That's my number 5. Next up, number 4 is The Sopranos, Made in America. So The Sopranos, this one's definitely going to be controversial. I've seen this be on some of the best finales lists of all time, but also I've seen it on some of the worst finales of all time lists. I don't see why it would be one of the worst. I really don't. I think, honestly, it's a stroke of genius how they ended it because it doesn't matter. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it doesn't matter if a certain character died or didn't die. It's not the point. The whole show has just been about the life and style of this mobster. So it really isn't necessary to give an answer. You don't need a definitive answer, especially in that when this is a lifestyle that never has definitive answers. So for me, it just meshes really well with the tone and the structure and the messages of the series. So it doesn't really matter. What's great though is that it gets people talking. And honestly, that's what you want with a movie or a TV show. You want it to be that people talk about it. And The Sopranos to this day this is a finale that is talked about so much. And rightfully so. It's a great finale in my opinion. So that's my number 4. My next up, number 3 is Breaking Bad. Felina. I love this finale. I really, really loved it. It's the opposite of The Sopranos where it does give you definitive answers, but I do think that can work very well too, as seen on Breaking Bad, because you watch the first episode of season 5 and you're like, what's going on? Like, you know, just the look and everything of Walter White. And then you see him in the finale and you see how that ties in and everything. You're like, that's genius, honestly. That's genius. And again, this is a show that 100%, unlike Hannibal, which unfortunately got canceled early and they had to wrap things up early. Breaking Bad was different because the creators, they literally had a game plan from day one. So they knew how they wanted to end and everything. And honestly, it's so satisfying with all the things that happen, from the villains to, obviously the hero. And it also ties into a lot of other, again, themes and messages that were throughout all these, episodes in the TV show. So it's a great finale. It really is. It's one of my favorite, no doubt about it, which is why it's a lot higher on this list than a lot of these other ones. So yeah, Breaking Bad, Felina, number 3. Next up, number 2 is 6 Feet Under. Everyone's Waiting. So 6 Feet Under, I can't lie. One of my friends, shout out to Ryan Arkavich, recommended the show to me. And not only did he recommend it to me, but it was his favorite show. It still is. So when I hear that, I'm like, okay, I got to check it out, especially because it's HBO. I love HBO. HBO is hands down my favorite network. No question about it. But I wanted to watch 6 Feet Under also because the premise seemed interesting. And I liked the show. I thought it was really good. But what struck me the most was that a lot of the episodes got like 8.3, 8.4 on IMDb. But the finale, I would see that it is a 9.9 out of 10, which, let's face it, is very hard to get, especially in today's culture where it's like you either love something or hate something. There's no in between. So to see that this episode has a 9.9 out of 10, I was like, how good could it actually be? And to be honest, the first half of the episode, I was thinking to myself, it's good, but like 9.9 out of 10 good. But it really is a very, very well-directed episode because it just slowly gets you into like what ends up happening is all of these like payoffs. You know, you have it where, again, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's good, but then as the episode progresses, it gives you payoffs to that first, opening like 10, 15 minutes or 20 minutes or so. And then obviously what we really need to talk about is the last 10 minutes, because the last 10 minutes is what really ties everything together. Not only just the finale itself, but the show as a whole. The final 10 minutes are just so emotional. I can't lie, I cried. I thought it was very emotional. I thought it was very well done. Easily some of the best cinema, not just film or TV show, altogether. It's just some of the best I've seen. I loved it. I think it's great. Again, it's important to tie a finale into the entire show or the overarching themes or the characters, and this finale did it. It did such a well job. I was honestly speechless, and that's why it's hard for me to find the words to just kind of describe it. It's beautiful. It's sad. It's heartbreaking, but it feels so right. It's great, honestly. I would highly recommend you check out 6 Feet Under if you haven't done so. Even if you don't like the show, or if you think it's just okay, when you get to that finale, there's no doubt in my mind that every single person will be like, "It's great. It's a great finale." But you need to get to that build up because, again, a lot of the episodes I thought I'd give I agree with IMDb's ratings. I would give it an 8 out of 10. A lot of the episodes, but there were also a lot of 9s. But this was the one where I was like 10 out of 10. No question about it. But yeah, watch 6 Feet Under. Also, let's get a Blu-ray release of 6 Feet Under, shall we? Please. But anyways, that was my number 2. My number 1, my favorite finale, hands down, of all time, is Mr. Robot. Hello, Elliot. Let me tell you, this finale rocked my world. More so than 6 Feet Under, this one had it where I cried multiple times in this finale. Because it just did such a great job of making you feel like you were the character and that you yourself are in these characters' shoes with what they're going through. And honestly, a lot of the surprises, the twists and turns that occur, it's satisfying and it's also surprising, which is what it should be, but it's just great, man. Also, the usage of music, similar to 6 Feet Under, the usage of music really did garner strong emotions for me. I loved it, honestly. And it's also strange to say it, but it almost is like a happy ending. But just to see these characters, again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but to see these characters end up being where they ended up being by the end, it's truly great. Truly awesome. A flawless show, in my opinion. I love the show as a whole, but that finale, amazing. So, yeah, guys, that's my top 10 best TV series finales of all time. Curious to hear your guys' list of top 10 best TV series of all time. And also, again, I'll be giving you guys my top 10 TV shows of all time list. So stay tuned for that. And again, thank you very much for watching, guys. You guys are the best. And also, if this is your first time on my channel, don't forget the subscription, notification bell, and I'll catch you guys later.